We're here today at the Sugarlands Visitor Center here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's a part of the Great Smoky Mountains. This visitor center is full of history books and that you can purchase and souvenirs. But today is a special event over here at the Sugarlands Visitor Center. It's all about the pioneer days and how the people in the mountains survived back then. So we're going to see a little bit of the history behind the Great Smoky Mountains and all the things that people did here. Let's see what everything is.
Welcome you all to Great Smoky Mountains National Park and to Sugarlands Visitor Center and to this year's Festival of Christmas Past. If you haven't already been inside and had an opportunity to do a walkthrough, we tried something a little different this year. We're celebrating Christmas through the decades. So you'll see examples of Christmas from the 1900s all the way up through today. So if you haven't had a chance, please do walk through the Visitor Center. We also have activities going on in the theater, and we have crafts and wreath making down in the training room. So be sure and check out all these things when you get back. This year's memory walk is going to also be a little bit different. Has anybody participated in the memory walk before? A few people? Okay. So it'll look a little bit different to you this year if you've seen it before, and if it hasn't, then all the better. A couple things to realize: it's going to be muddy on the trail, so be prepared for that. It is slick out, obviously, so rocks and roots are going to be a little slippery today, so just watch your feet and where you're going so that you don't trip over anything. I don't want any injuries while we're out there today. So what you're going to experience today is you're going to meet a brand new seasonal park ranger. She's new to Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and she's being mentored by a seasoned ranger here. And I'll let them tell the rest of the story. So just follow me.
I don't know anything about this park. Books, I've been looking everywhere. I don't know if I've ever did this stuff. I have to do this in like 2 days. Oh gosh. I'm over here! Oh great, here comes Brad. He's probably gonna dump more on my plate that I gotta figure out about this. I have no idea what I'm doing. Maybe trying to hide a little bit.
How's your season going so far?
So far so good, I guess. I've been trying to research all of this stuff. I can't believe you're making me do this hike. I don't know anything about the cultural history of this park.
Well, that's Stephanie. She didn't want to make you do all this.
I guess I'm going to have a talk with her later on. I don't know.
The thing about it is that, the history of this park is not in book form. There's more to it than that. Now, I could give you 12 books on the history of this park, but you would probably go cross-eyed and go to sleep before you even got through page 1.
I'm about at that point now.
Let me tell you something. I've been in this park a long time. And back, 19 years ago, there was a park ranger here. His name was Glenn Cardwell. And he was an amazing fellow. He grew up in the park. He was the supervisor at Sugarlands Visitor Center. But there's one day we were walking in the park on a train near Crawdad Falls, actually, through the Gap Trail. And he'd stop every once in a while and he would tell us what's going on at that point on the walk. And then there's this one time around a bend where the wind started blowing down through there and started going through the hemlock trees up there. And he stopped everybody. He said, "Don't say a word. Do not say a word. Just listen." And we didn't say a word. We was kind of scared about what he was going to say. And he said, "Just listen." And we listened as the wind was going through the hemlock trees. He said, "That right there is the symphony of the forest right there." And he stopped and told us that here in the Smokies, sometimes there are echoes in the mountains that will tell you the stories of how this land was developed to become a national park. And I guarantee you, Jennifer, if you could put those books away and let us take a little walk I guarantee you, we can actually learn some history with Smokies. What do you think?
You say so. I'm not sure about this symphony part,
It's
but
pretty cool, actually. It's pretty cool.
you say so. I'm willing to give it a try because these books, I'm just getting more and more confused.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. But you know, really the foundation of this park is not just become a national park because of, you know, how the government came in. Believe it or not, it can all be summed up in a mother's gift.
A mother's gift.
A mother's gift.
I'm not sure if I'm following you.
Okay, that's why we need to take a walk. But now what you gotta do, and I have the trouble with this with signals all the time, you gotta take notes.
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 All right.
Remember that. Okay?
Notes.
All right.
I got it.
All right, let's go.
See how this is going to
It's
work.
gonna work out fine. You'll have to get all kinds of Years ago, there was not a single tree standing where we're at right now. Can you tell me maybe 3 clues of why I'm saying that?
Trees look a little smaller.
They're very small trees. Yeah, the diameter trees are very small. What else?
Forest looks kind of close together.
Close together, right? Okay. Anything else?
I don't know. How close those
Well,
two.
you did good. You did good. There's something else that you don't really see this time of year is poison ivy. You see poison ivy growing all through here, and that's a sign that an area has been cleared at one time. Usually poison ivy doesn't grow in old growth areas. So something happened right here. And now, if you think about what is now this 520,000 acre park, there were thousands of people who lived here at one time. There were farms, there were communities all around this place. And back in the 1920s, when the whole idea of this park
Louder,
started, that we could actually try to create a national park right here. There was a dream of a lady who really thought that she really wanted to create this park. She'd been out west. She wanted to come back to create this park, create a national park here. And all I gotta say is, you need to take some notes here.
All right. Notes. I get it. Notes.
Oh my goodness, welcome. I'm so glad you came to listen today. Welcome. My husband Willis was supposed to meet with you, but a business, important business, kept him from coming, so he asked me if I would speak with you. I'm so happy you're here because I want to tell you the project that we're working on, and I know that you are going to be part of it. You know, I just got back with Willis and Barbara and Jane are my daughters, and we've been to Yellowstone. We got out there and I said, you know, Willis, I would give anything if we could have a national park in the east like this one. We have the mountains, we have the mammals, we have all of the waterfalls and the flowers, all the trees. Now our mountains might not be quite as high, but they're a lot older. Why can't we have a national park in the east? He said, why, Ann, we'll go to work on that immediately, as soon as we return. And that is what we have been doing. I got kind of frustrated because every time Willis would go out to speak to a group, as you all, people would say, oh, here comes that old man again, gonna talk about some kind of park. And they didn't buy into it at all. But you see, we have a real good friend. His name is David Chapman. And he's a wholesale druggist, and he also has nice financial means. And we got him on board. At first he didn't care anything about it. The same as his friend, Carlos Campbell. Carlos was the assistant secretary of the Chamber of Commerce in Knoxville, and my Willis was in charge of the Chamber of Commerce. So we had a pretty good audience to start out with. And we all of a sudden started getting people to come on board with us. Well, the next thing we knew, we had a great following. but we met a lot of obstacles along the way. So, because the women's suffrage is only 4 years old, I decided I would run for the legislature, the Tennessee legislature. And guess what? I won. Only the third one to be elected. And I ran for one purpose and one purpose only. And that was to introduce the bill for this to become a national park. There was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of obstacles we had to cross, and we're still crossing them. For you see, there is this gentleman whose name is James B. Wright. He is an attorney with the L&N Railroad, and he, of course, is involved in logging. And he wants this to be a national forest. We don't want a national forest. We want the logging stopped. So we're in a conflict with him greatly. Hopefully, when I get to Nashville, we'll be able to fix that. I have been working day and night, and so has Willis, to start this movement and to keep everyone on board, because one day we want a place that is preserved and protected. Right now we're having a lot of trouble because there's thousands of people that live here. They live off of the land. And to give it up for a national park is not what they want to do. So I hope with all of your connections and your bids that you make and those nice donations that you will be making, that we will be able to have a national park for your children and your grandchildren to enjoy one day. You know, I have to catch the train to Nashville, so I must be on my way. But thank you for your support, and I hope that in your travels today, if you come across anyone who might live around here, that you listen to what they have to say. I'm sure it's not the same as I am. Thank you for your support, and I must be going now. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Well, Jennifer, Ann Davis was the mother of this national park. That's why I said this is a mother's day. Because if it wasn't for her and the hard work she did, we wouldn't have it that today.
Get it.
On the other hand, we mentioned there are a lot of people who live here, and they were not real happy about having to move off their land. So, who were these people? You know, where do they live? Where do they go? Guess what? We got to go take some notes and find out about this too. More notes.
We don't have no money. I'm cooking up chitlins here, and this is good to sop up with your cornbread, because you just sop that. So I've got sweet taters here cooking in the fire, and I'm doing my chitlins. I've already fixed my leather britches. My leather, that's like a green bean that's dried, and you put it with a little fat back, and so I've got that going, and I have to say, I'm so sad. Lady Jane, she lives up in the holler, and bless her heart, that's what you say when you're going to say something about somebody. And it's not always nice, but bless her heart. Lady Jane, bless her heart, she wanted to be the leader of the Ladies' Aid Society. You do that in the holler, you can go and help people. You can give them medicine, and you can do these little blankets for babies, and you can do all kinds of stuff. Woo! I don't know where Pa's got the dropsy. If he finds a log, he just drops on it, and he's gone to sleep. And he's supposed to be getting a job. I need some money here. Anyway, Lady Jane, God bless her heart, bless her heart. She wanted to be president of the Ladies' Aid Society. She told her husband every day, she said, you know, I can cipher. Ciphering is adding and subtracting. And I can do multiple tasks better than anybody in the holler, better. And they won't elect me. And her husband said, you know what, woman, I'm so tired of listening to you complain about this. I've got to go to Knoxville, and I have to pick up some supplies. It take about five days to get there from here. So going to Knoxville, and we'll sleep along the highway there. And I've got the mule, and let's just go, and don't talk about this Ladies' Aid Society stuff. I don't want to hear it anymore. Well, let me turn these papers over. Anyway, she said, okay, so they got in the wagon and headed out and got to Knoxville, there at Knoxville, and she's gone freshen up. That just means splashing water on your face. She's freshening, and she went down to eat, because you all eat together in the boarding house. They're staying in the boarding house. And so she was sitting there, and they start bringing that food in, and they carried that big old chicken, roasted chicken. Now, you don't have roasted chicken often. That's when the preacher comes, or if somebody's dead, because that's special. Anyway, they carried it in, and it had mushrooms all around the bottom. They'd been roasted. And then they carried in a bowl of green beans. They weren't leather riches, they were green beans. Don't know how they did that. Maybe some big city of Knoxville did that. And they had sliced mushrooms in there. And then they bring a big platter, and it's got great big old mushrooms, and it's stuffed with cornbread dressing and had butter melting all on there. So she's sitting there and she's going, well, maybe if I did these dishes and had the Ladies' Aid Society come, then they'd elect me, because they know I was such a good organizer and such a good cook. Well, her husband said, I don't want to hear any more, woman. Don't say another word. When we get back home, I'm going to get some tables and set them out for you, big old pieces of wood, and I'll get you all the mushrooms you want. Well, they go home. She got the recipes from the boarding house, and she's going over those. Okay, and I'm going to kill that over hen. Haven't been laying good anyway. And then we'll have to have leather riches. Don't have any green beans, okay? And we'll have that. And she said, I can't get this all done myself. I need help. So she got her son to get on a mule and ride down to Pittman Center and get that widow lady. The widow lady to come and help. So she got that widow lady come up, and they were making all these dishes, and every one of them Ladies' Aid Society people, they came. Every single one of them. And they're just oohing and ahhing, and she's cooking, and that little widow lady's helping her. And that little widow lady, she saw everything's about ready, and she went up and she said, you know, some of them mushrooms are poisonous. What? Yeah, some of them is poisonous. Oh my goodness. Well, let's take a helping of every single dish that has mushrooms, and that old hound dog's out there in the road asleep. We'll take it out there and we'll feed it to that hound dog, and let's see what happens. Well, they got a little bit, and they went out and they gave that hound dog that big old tongue, and he lapped up that food. He loved it, and he lay back down on the ground and went sound asleep. And okay, it's taken care of. And so they start bringing the food out. Remember, they had them planks on old sawhorses out there and logs, and they're out there, and everybody's saying, well, this is so good, Lady Jane. We just can't believe how good this is. We're just delightful. It's so beautiful. And she's going, I'm going to be the next president. I am. Well, wouldn't you know, that little old lady, she came in and she said, Dog's dead. Dog is dead. Oh my gosh, I puzzled everybody. Oh my gosh, and she said to her son, get on the horse, go get Doc Thomas and bring him up here because I poisoned the Ladies' Aid Society. Well, Doc Thomas, as soon as the son got down there, he said, she should know about there are mushrooms out here you don't need to be eating. He comes up there and he has to pump everybody's stomach. Well, the pump is kind of like a bicycle pump that you do tires with, except you run it down and your goozle's right here. If you don't know what that's a goozle. And you run it down the goozle right into the belly, and then you pull it out and all that stuff comes out. Not a good thing. So everybody'd have their stomach pumped. Everybody's sitting and they're just feeling so poorly. And that little old widow lady, she came in and she said, you know, old Booger Bill, he's drunk again. And he ran right over that dog with the wagon, and he didn't stop. He didn't say he was sorry or nothing. Just kept right on going. And I feel sorry for her, Lady Jane. So I'm going to take her some taters, and I'm going to take her some of this sopping grease that she can sop up the corn pone with, and I'm just going to try to make her feel better because I'm going to take her some sourwood honey. That's what I'll do, sourwood honey. And that only comes from a sourwood tree. Don't buy regular honey, get the sourwood. And I'm going to give her sourwood honey. I've got some because we live in the land of milk and honey. Well, I've got to get this ready. I'm going to put it in the basket and head up to Lady Jane's and get things done here. Got some possum grease too, if you need any possum grease. And I've got it for her too. Okay. I'm going to see if I can find Paul and I'll head on down the trail.
Thank you.
Thousands of people lived here, hundreds of communities. There was churches, there were schools, general stores. This was a happy place at one time. But the thing about it is that these European descendants that were here for almost 100 years, there were some other people that were landowners as well. And they were the big time commercial logging companies.
Logging happened here?
Logging happened here. Probably 80% of what was the national park was logged at one time.
That much?
That much.
You'd never know that today.
No, you don't know it today for sure, but it was. And I guarantee you, if we may cross the bridge, go across the river, you might hear that whistle over the mountain that they do sometimes when they get something to work. So listen for that.
Let's go.